Hello and welcome everyone. It is time for Jim Comics Top Picks for New Comic Book Day this Wednesday, June 13th, 2018. We've got some really good books out this week, some gorgeous covers, and if I'm right, there's a real sleeper in DC, which I'm going to cover off when I get going here. But before I do that, I just want to make sure I thank everybody that watches my videos, subscribes to my channel, sends me comments. And I mentioned previously that I've been really busy and I haven't had a chance to answer all the messages people have sent me, so I'm going to try and catch up on that today and tomorrow. So if I haven't replied to you, I will definitely try to do that in the next couple days here. And as usual, I'm going to run through all the books I'm looking at this week. Then I will give you my top picks for the week. I'll give you my top covers for the week, as well as cover off a spec book. And the spec book, I'm trying to keep that in the $20 and under range. And I got a good one this week too, so we'll get going into that. Before I do though, I just want to cover off Deadpool #1, which came out last week. And I have to give a shout out to one of my subscribers, Frank Saraval. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. He sent me a message. He says, I think there's a first appearance in this. And I hadn't read it yet. It was kind of on the bottom of my pile. I had a lot of books to read. So I'm flipping through, and sure enough, there's a first appearance of this Celestial called Groffin the Regurger. Right, it's close to the middle of the book. He flies right by the Guardians of the Galaxy here, and they're like, oh crap, what the hell's that? And Star-Lord talks to Iron Man and mentions, he says, there's a Celestial on its way to Earth, Groffin the Regurger. So, and Iron Man says, I'm familiar with all Celestials on record. I haven't heard of this one. So that's a new Celestial, and apparently he's a devourer of planets similar to Galactus, so kind of interesting. If you haven't got that book, that's a good one to get. I'm going to grab another cover this week from my shop, so anyways, good one. Thanks, Frank, for that. I'm going to run through my independents first, and then I'll go through DC and Marvel. So not a ton of stuff from independents, but there's some good ones there. First one from Aftershock is Walk Through Hell #2. That's out this week, and I grabbed #1 there whenever that came out a few weeks back, and it was really good. I wasn't able to get the B cover, the black cover, but got cover A. And I think there's only one cover this week, but that's kind of a cool series. From Image, 3 titles from them. There's Analog #3. There's cover A, and then there's also cover B. And as you're all aware, the rights to that were picked up by Lionsgate. And supposedly Chaz Stahelski, the guy who's doing the John Wick movies, is going to do that. So that looks really good. Keep going with that one. Magic Order #1 is out this week, and there's 4 covers for that. So I'm going to run through all 4 covers. Cover A is on the screen. And then there's cover B. There is cover C. And there's also cover D. And that one has been picked up by Netflix. It's going to be a Netflix show. And there is no reprints for this one, is what we've been told. So if you want that, you're going to want to pick them up while you can, because you won't be getting reprints. Last one from Image is Stellar #1. And that looks pretty interesting. I'll give that a read, but that is it from Image. One from Scout Comics, you're going to see this on the screen. I highly recommend you get this one. Is called Zinnober #1. The cover A is on the screen. The one you're going to want though is cover B, which you're looking at right now with that. Oh man, that's a gorgeous cover. And just so you're aware, this is sold out on Midtown. It has been for a while. But you can go directly to Scout Comics site and order the comics off the Scout Comics site, off their store. So if you want that cover B, which is what I did, I went right to Scout Comics and ordered it. Cover B is $10 because it's, from what I understand, it's a limited variant. So I think it's a 1 for 10, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Cover A is like $3.99, but cover B is $10. But they do have some still left there, so if you want it, go there and get it because it's going to be gone really fast. And that is a gorgeous cover. And last one I'm looking at, Independence, is from Titan Comics. It's Konangar. Cover A is on the screen. And cover B, I really like cover B. That's kind of a cool looking cover, so I'm getting both of those. And that's obviously kind of a medieval knights in armor fantasy kind of thing. It looks really cool. So on to DC. So at DC we've got Batman Prelude to the Wedding, Batgirl versus Riddler. And This is the one that I think is going to be a sleeper, is Detective Comics 982. Now, the reason for that is this has been solicited. You're going to see the original image that they've solicited for months. It was in the previews. It was on their site. And if you actually still go to the DC site and click on Detective Comics 982, it'll bring up the new cover, but the old cover, which you're seeing on the screen, is still the background image, because they promoted this for months. It was supposed to be Brian Hill's the writer of this, what was supposed to be a new story arc on the outside. I'm going to read it to you, and you'll understand when we get going here, and you'll understand why I got these books in the background too, these Batman the Cult. So it's Duke Thomas, Cassandra Cain. They and other young heroes don't intend to stand down no matter what Batman thinks is best. Who can Batman trust to guide them? They need a teacher, and Black Lightning fits the bill. So Black Lightning and Batman were supposed to team up in this. But what's happened is just recently, DC has switched and now got this new cover, a new story, which I'm going to read to you. It's called The Cursing of Gotham City, and this is like a one-shot. It's just a one-shot story. It's not a story arc, but it's just a one-issue story. The Cursing of Gotham City. The abduction of a child by a strange militant religious sect of Gotham's homeless takes Batman into the city's darkest subterranean tunnels and into the upside-down world of the vicious spirit Deacon Blackfire. So the reason I have the Batman the Cult in the background is because Deacon Blackfire makes his first appearance in Batman the Cult, and this came out in August of '88. I bought a bunch of these back in the day, so I'll just give you a quick image of him here. So that's Deacon Blackfire making his Shaman Blackfire. He was considered a Shaman Blackfire kind of dude. So basically, he's an evil dude. Like he was considered to be over 100 years old and bathes in human blood and all this stuff to get all his magical powers. And so that's what this story is revolving around. And so the interesting thing, I've got the image of the new cover on the screen now, so you can see Batman's fighting all these, monster creature kind of things, almost look like zombies with glowing eyes. But there's a knife right at the bottom center of the screen, and in that knife you can see a reflection. And to me, now I've got a couple theories here. So I think either you're going to have first appearance of Crush, because I got an image of Crush on the screen now beside that. Look at the knife and look at Crush. There's a potential that she could be showing up in this book. And the one that I think is where I'm leaning towards is, I'm going to read this again, but I'm going to put an image on the screen while I'm reading it. It'll clue in just a second. So I'm going to read it again, but now look at the image on the screen. The Cursing of Gotham City. The abduction of a child by a strange militant religious sect of Gotham's homeless takes Batman into the city's darkest subterranean tunnels. And now comes the image. And into the upside-down world of the vicious spirit Deacon Blackfire. So because Justice League Dark comes out next month, and they're trying to push that series and get some hype about that series, I think there's going to be the first appearance of Upside Down Man in this 982. So I don't know this for a fact, but the last time DC did this was with Batman 38, which you got on the screen now, where they went along and all of a sudden they popped in a one-issue comic in between story arcs, and that was the introduction of that new villain who down the road is going to be playing a bigger role, but the Dark Batman, that kid who kills his parents and everything. So I really think when DC does this, you got to pay attention, because I think they're sneaking something into this book that a lot of people aren't aware of. So I highly recommend you pick this book up. I've got it on pre-order, and what I'm going to do is before I do, the first thing I'm doing when I get to my shop is I'm grabbing my Detective Comics out of my pull list, and I'm opening it up, and I'm going to flip through, and if I see Upside Down Man or Crush in there, I'm going to go to the rack and buy every copy they've got there. So that's what I recommend you do. At least get one on order if you don't have that on order. If you do have it on order, as soon as you get to your shop, check that out and look at what's in there, because something's coming in. They don't do that very often, but anyways, that's my guess. Flash 48 cover A, and then got a gorgeous Matina cover B. That's a great cover. Hawkman number 1 cover A, and also a really nice cover B as well for that one too. Mortal Men number 3 is out this week. I mentioned this one a while back. It's got Batman Who Laughs on the cover. I really recommend you get that one, and that's a good series too. I really like that series. And this is interesting. Man of Steel #3 is out this week as well as part of that weekly 6-issue run. Now, I think there's a possible twist coming here because the title of this is, it's revealed the maniac who killed Krypton. Now, from issue 1000, Action 1000, Rogol-Zar said, I destroyed Krypton. So is this just explaining how he did it? Or is Rogol-Zar working with somebody else, and that somebody else destroyed Krypton and he's taking credit for it? I don't know, but definitely if you're not buying Man of Steel, I'd recommend you do, because it's a good story. It's the whole introduction of Rogol-Zar right from Action 1000 through this miniseries. It's all to do with Rogol-Zar and Superman, obviously, but it's a really good one. Plastic Man #1 is out, grabbing that. Sideways #5 and grabbing that, and that is the first appearance of the Showman who's on the cover. So if you're not buying Sideways, grab that book because that's the first appearance of the Showman. Titan Special #1, I'm grabbing that. Not sure if anything's popping up in that, but I wouldn't be surprised because there's a lot of stuff coming up these days. Wonder Woman 48, Dark Gods, I'm grabbing both covers for that. And that is it for DC. From Marvel, I've got Infinity Countdown, Darkhawk #2. I'm grabbing cover A and cover B. I really like that Infinity Countdown, and obviously that's leading into that whole Infinity Wars coming down the road. Now, I may kick myself for doing this one, but I am going to buy a copy of Marvel Rising Alpha #1. It looks like a steaming turd pile, but the solicitation says there's a new supervillain introduced in this, so I'm going to buy a copy. I may regret it, and you can all make fun of me afterwards if nothing shows up, but I'm going to buy one of those. It does have Captain Marvel in it too, so it'll be a good one. Marvel 2-in-1 Annual #1 comes out this week as well. I'm grabbing cover A, and there's a really nice cover B. I'm grabbing that one as well. And as you're all aware, Thor #1 relaunch comes out today. I've got cover A on pre-order. I've got cover B on pre-order, and I really like this cover C as a Christian Ward 1 for 25 variant. That's a gorgeous cover. Now, there's a whole bunch of covers for this, so I'm going to run through them all. So I've covered A, B, and C. There's cover D. It's a connecting variant. I'm not really all that keen on that one. Cover E is a nice cover. Might get that one if I can. Then there's cover F and cover G as well, I think, is the last one. If I miss any, I'll throw the other image on the screen. Venom #2 is out this week, and I highly recommend you get this one. I recommended this after issue 1. There's 3 covers for this. Main cover is on the screen. Then there's cover B and also a cover C. One of those two, one of B and C is a 1 for 25, and I'm sorry, I'm not sure which one it is, but I'm going to try and get all 3. So, and I think this is going to be, so in the end of issue 1, you kind of got a glimpse of that evil 1,000-year-old villain that was around. And I think this will be your first full appearance in this one, so I highly recommend you get Venom #2. It's a really good story too, and the artwork is great, and that Stegman's doing some awesome art. And last one from Marvel, and I ordered this quite a while ago, is Weekend Presents Starboy #1. Highly recommend you get that. If you can find that in your shop, pick that one up, because that looks really good. Price is jumping up on that one too. Alright, so that's it for my new books this week. My covers this week, I actually have 4 covers. I try to keep them to 3, but there's some really nice covers. So Thor #1, cover C, that Christian Ward cover, that is a gorgeous cover. I love that cover. From Scout Comics, at Zinnober #1, cover B, absolutely gorgeous. And if you can get that, get it, because I think that one's going to do really well. Like I say, if you can't find it anywhere, go right to Scout Comics site and order it online. Flash 48, cover B, Matina, another gorgeous cover. And I had to go with 4 because this Marvel 2-in-1 Annual #1 cover B is really nice. So that's a gorgeous cover as well. So my top picks this week, I've got I'll give you my 3 top picks, and then I'm going to give you my a couple honorable mentions. So my #1 pick is Weekend Presents Starboy #1. Try and get that. I think that's going to do really well. Venom #2, because I believe that is going to be the first full appearance of that 1,000-year-old villain. Zinnober #1, cover B. If you can get that, get it. I believe that is a 1 for 10. I'm not 100% sure on that, but either way, that's just a gorgeous cover, and it's going to be a low print run with that too. That's going to do really well. And I'm throwing a fourth one in here, Detective Comics 982, because I really believe something's coming in that book, and I highly recommend you get at least one copy of that. And if you don't want to buy it, at least check it out on your store, because I really think something's coming. I think it's going to be Upside Down Man in there. I could be wrong, but that's a hunch I'm going with. Just the way DC's changed things around with like they've done before. And two honorable mentions, Immortal Man #3 and Man of Steel #3. Those look really good. So my spec book this week is going to be a Dark Horse Comics book. It is Black Hammer #1. That is cover A. There was a cover B and also a San Diego Comic-Con version of that as well. Jeff Lemire's doing a really good job with this. He's kind of creating his own little world. He's got Black Hammer. There's also... oh shoot, hang on one second. I got it written down here because I forget the name of it. It's Dark Star... What the heck is it? Oh yeah, there's a bunch of spin-offs. So there was Sherlock Frankenstein, A Legion of Evil. There's Dr. Star and the Kingdom of Lost Tomorrows, and also a new Black Hammer, Age of Doom. So he's kind of creating this whole world, and this this series is doing well. That book can be found fairly reasonably, but the print run wasn't overly high. I think it was under 20,000 for that print run, and that includes all the variants. So if you can pick this one up, try and find it. They're not hard to find, but they're not the easiest book to find. But try and get that if you can. It's a really good one. That's my spec book of the week this week. So, anyways, that is it, folks. I will talk to you all later in the week with my haul video. Take care, everyone. Happy hunting this Wednesday, and I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.